Oh, hey guys. Bart coming to you from TST Industries in Florida, bringing you another episode of TST Garage. In this episode, as you can see behind me, we have a MT-09. This is the second gen bike. The parts we'll be installing actually fit both current generations, the 13 Plus and the 17 Plus. We just figured we'd bring this beauty in and show you the installation on the current model. Now, what are we installing? We've successfully launched an entire crash protection package for this bike in the past. That package featured the endurance style frame sliders that mount only to one location on here. We are now launching the EVOS line of frame sliders from Womet-Tech. These will actually mount to both of these frame and engine mount areas. These are much stronger. They do offer a really big delrin puck. In case you do go down hard, this will absorb a lot of the force from the crash, and also if you slide very far, you have a lot of meat to grind through before you get down to the more expensive components. Construction is 6061 aluminum, black anodized, beautiful pocketing in here, really nice machining. These are high quality pieces. Same thing goes for the delrin component. It is really beautifully machined. It has a lot of style added to the actual element. It's not just practical, but it really looks spectacular. All the spacers are made of 6061 aluminum, and we have 12.9 class steel bolts that hold it all together, providing much needed strength in case of a crash. The installation is really easy. It's actually the same on both generation bikes. We will demonstrate it on this bike. Hopefully you guys can follow along and we'll have some fun. Let's get started. All right, to ensure success in installation, I would like to first empty the contents of the kit and pre-arrange them so that we know which parts go where. There's an order to this installation and the parts do differ from one side to the other, so we'll just need to make sure we're working with the correct parts. I am a big proponent of reading and understanding the instruction sheet prior to beginning any of these installations, and I encourage you guys to do the same. We do have instructions in multiple languages. I speak English here, so that's what we'll choose. First and foremost, we do have these two main brackets that are coded on the back. One has an L inscription, one has an R inscription. That means right and left. So we're gonna arrange these guys that way. Okay, on the right, this bracket will fit in this configuration. It will receive one of these delrin pucks in this arrangement, but as you can see, this text now ends up upright. If you choose the left puck for the right slider, it'll be reversed. So what we want to do is make sure that we have these two components paired. And now we will need two of these screws. They are M8 countersunk screws. Those are meant for fixing this component to its base. And now we need to pick the correct spacers. I've done this already, so I know that I need the smallest spacer for this side. I believe it's a 5mm. So we have a 5mm spacer, and then we also have a 45mm spacer that goes on this side. It looks like a bobbin with an extended end on one side. This will fit here with the bobbin side towards the bracket. And that's really simple. So the last remaining set of components we need to pair with this side is the bolts. So we have a 100mm bolt, and that's one of these guys. And then also a 60mm bolt. Okay. So here's a simple way to choose these without having to measure. We are given 200mm bolts. So one goes to one side, one goes to the other. Then we have shorter bolts. One is slightly longer, that's an 80mm. One is slightly shorter, that's a 60. So So this goes on this side, and this goes on this side. By process of elimination here, we've configured our left side. We just need to figure out which one of these spacers go forward and which one goes aft. And it's very simple to figure out. The rear connection is the one that requires the longer bolt and the longer spacer. So we will pair this spacer on the back here. This spacer is 50 millimeters long. And again, the bobbin side goes towards the bracket. All right. Now, the only thing that remains to be done with these sets is to get our slider portion attached to the bracket, and that's done with these countersunk screws threading right into the delrin. We'll start the thread by hand, bottom out with a 5mm Allen, and then we will set a torque wrench to 8 foot-pounds. That's 96 inch-pounds, and then just torque them. Do that on both sides. And that's that. Now we're ready to get onto the bike and start the installation process. All right, so the first step on the bike will consist of removing these 2 bolts with a 8mm Allen wrench. Please do not remove both sides, left and right. This will loosen up the engine upper portion considerably and may result in the engine drooping, and then you'll have a mismatch of concentricity. So let's get that done. 8mm Allen. These are not too terribly tight in the motor. They are meant to be torqued to 33 foot-pounds. We remove the bolt and the washer. Same on the rear. Now we will grab our appropriate bracket here. It is the right one. We are on the right side of the bike. We'll grab the spacer. Remember, the bobbin portion goes towards the bracket. Longer bolt. And fit that through. Engage the thread by hand. Pick up the smaller washer, spacer rather, shorter screw, and perform that same procedure up front. Now we will go ahead and get these bolts to their bottom. Once we bottom out, we're going to switch over to our torque wrench, which is set to 33 foot-pounds, and finalize this side. All right, so our right side's done. Let's go on to the left side. Now on the left side of the bike, we will follow essentially the same installation procedure. The key differences being just slightly different components going in a different location. Now we will grab our assembly and we will start with the larger spacer towards the rear of the bike. Remember, bobbin goes towards the bracket. 100mm long screw. Thread it in. And now we have this forward spacer. As you can see, there's a shoulder cut into it. The shoulder will fit towards the frame. And that gets connected with an 80mm screw. And then we'll switch over to the torque wrench, torque down to 33 foot-pounds. All right, and that's done. All right, I feel like this installation was really quick and painless, and we've added some much needed protection to this bike. In case it does go down, all these beautiful components will be better protected. Not to say that a crash can't be bad enough that you destroy the whole bike anyway, but these components really do add the protection that you need to minimize the cost in case of a crash. An added element that we also stock is this engine cover crash protector. It is essentially a slider that replaces this cap here. It just adds a sliding point here in case you do go down and start hitting things on the road, or if you slide off the road, you'll have another sliding surface here. We do have some other components for extending the crash protection from Womet-Tech on our website, tstindustries.com. I invite you guys to go see all the parts that we have. We have a really big catalog for this bike. This is one of the most popular bikes that we serve. We have fork slider, we have some nice bar ends with delrin slider ends. We have these guys here. These are our spool sliders. We have a lot of nice parts, including crash protection, fender eliminators, lighting, electronics, exhaust, all sorts of stuff. Hope you guys will check out tstindustries.com. We'll see you there.